get a little message. And this recording is for all of those that registered for the course. This isn't something that will be circulating out on any platform other than in our oils community. And then we're just gonna keep an eye on latecomers, and I think that it would be wonderful to begin so that we can manage our time well. Jen and I welcome you to the spirit of the oils. This is, I know that signed on here are a few sort of like work in progress experts at the oils. And so welcome to those of you who are already living with the oils. Welcome to those of you who might be new to the oils. We're definitely going to cover some foundational information so that everyone feels like they have a great foundation understanding what we're talking about. And as alluded to in the title, Jennifer and I are particularly passionate about the depth with which we can work on our human experience with the oils. And so we're excited to take a dive, which we don't ordinarily do in a more introductory class, into the emotional mind and maybe I can even say spiritual aspects of some of the oils that you might already even be using, but maybe you're not aware of how deeply they can impact our well-being and our day-to-day ability to navigate life. So my partner in crime today is Jennifer Pansa-Rohr. She's my business partner. Jen, you want to say a few words about yourself?
Well, number one, I'm just very happy to be here. I love partnering with Molly and everything she does because I love the energy to which she brings to things and the depth where, working with people that have such a background like Molly, who has a background in Chinese medicine and is also a yoga teacher and leads retreats all over the world. She just looks at the world from a different perspective. So I always appreciate partnering with her. And I think if you guys don't know her, you're definitely going to enjoy this. And for me, for those of you that don't know me, I've been working in the wellness industry for about 12 years now. And I have been working specifically with essential oils for about, I think almost 7 to 10 years, with doTERRA about 5. So I'm really passionate about this because I feel that, all of us, type a 111 in the chat if you are, that you're a physical being, but that there's something more to you, that you are having a spiritual experience in this lifetime as well. And sometimes we get stuck in the physical. And so I am really passionate about this particular topic because I feel like we talk a lot about the oils and the purposes just from day-to-day use in the physical realm. But anyone who studied with emotions or energy or yoga, that's just the first layer of things. And so I'm really excited in this webinar because we get to go a little bit deeper into really uncovering and discovering how we can employ these little plant helpers to really be superheroes in our lives and maybe a different way than you've learned about in the past. So I'm really excited to dive in.
I love that your introduction included also an introduction to me. So I'm going to do the same for those of you.
I didn't know if we were skipping that part.
No, of course not. For whom you,
Okay,
because this is what we do when we blend, communities. It's so beautiful because a lot of people on the call are already in my community but haven't met Jennifer, and it really excites me to no end to be working side by side in the world with not only like-minded but like-hearted people. And on top of that foundational connection on all energy levels, Jennifer brings to the playing field things and talents and ways of being that do not come naturally to me. And so it's so incredible to work in collaboration. And she's being modest because she's like an internationally known yoga instructor and health wellness advocate. And for those of you, I guess I'm supposed to be introducing myself. I have a background in traditional Chinese medicine. I'm also an international yoga instructor, retreat leader, teacher, trainer. And the common thread, I've had I don't really identify strongly with cats necessarily in this life, and yet I feel I'm perhaps living the life of a cat and having had several lives already, and I'm kind of waiting for the next ones to come across the spectrum, from genetic research to being a professional dancer to going to medical school to doing a volunteer stint in Nepal, et cetera, et cetera. And the common thread is really just a life of service. And as Jennifer so beautifully articulated, we all know that there is something beyond the physical, and a lot of my work in healing with people, although it does start on the physical level, which is the logical place for us to start, because it's like the most tangible, right? None of us can really deny that our body exists, but when it comes to emotions and thoughts, we're like, well, I know they're there, but I don't know what to do with them. So hopefully we can begin to shed some light there on this very powerful influence and aspect of our human lives, but an aspect that in our modern lives and in modern society we're not often addressing with certainty and with intellect. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So those of you who have been on webinars with me know that I always get just a tiny bit nervous when I start to do technology. But let's see if I can manage.
You did it. It's happening.
Did I do it? Okay, but I'm not in slideshow. This is,
Oh.
well, anyway, here you go. I'm going to go here, and then Jen, take it away.
Go to
Yes.
view. Go to
Yeah, you
view.
should be able to
And then
to window.
that works.
It should be a slideshow, but that's okay. Go ahead and start, and I'm going to play while you start so we can be mindful of the time.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we are doing here. So basically, type a 111 in the chat if you've already experienced essential oils in some way or form, as I know that many of you already have, right? So basically what we're talking about here is the essence of the plant. We are getting to what is beyond just the physical properties of the plant. And I love these images because it really depicts, the feeling that is evoked from these. And sometimes, I think when we have just the little bottles sitting at home in our shelves, but we forget that this little bottle comes from an actual plant and comes from the earth. And the important thing to remember is that we are earth. We are deeply connected to nature. And that just because we're using these little oils that are in a bottle, you're really tapping into the essence of earth and mother nature and Pachamama, however you want to say it, when you're using these essential oils. And that in and of itself is connecting us back to our true nature, to oneness, to this divine energy that is within us and all around us. And so I just love this imagery because I feel like it sets the tone for this evening. So thinking beyond just the little brown bottles, but really thinking of the plants and the energy behind the plant itself.
So beautiful. So when we walk into the realm of essential oils, perhaps especially for those of you for whom this might be a newer subject, it is sort of crazy how I'm going to say industry of essential oils has been growing in our modern world. And that has lended itself to people thinking that essential oils is a modern topic. And here, as we return to the essence of nature, I think it's also a beautiful time to remind you and remind ourselves consistently that essential oils are actually some of the most ancient medicines that have been used. And you can see a couple of examples on this slide here, but really what I would like to comment on as we sort of touch into that human beings have been tapping into the wisdom of nature for ever, as long as we have documented life, and probably much before. And if you're familiar at all with the yogic realm, it's something actually that we also have a lot of conversations around in traditional Chinese medicine, where there's this thing that acupuncture for pain or acupuncture for whatever it is that you go to see your acupuncturist for, that it's something new, simply because it has become new on the platform of media and sharing. But all of these realms, and specifically for today, of course, are gorgeous essential oils. And I love those images that you shared, Jen. Just, who doesn't feel just a softening and almost like you can smell the soil, right? When you imagine your hand on that mossy tree, you already feel a shift in the energetics. Well, we've been tapping into this wisdom for thousands and thousands of years. And one of the things that naturally comes up in this perception that essential oils are modern is the questioning around, are they relevant to life? Are they relevant to wellness? Are they relevant as medicinal substances? And so knowing that they have actually been used as medicines and interventions and allies to spiritual practices and all aspects of life for thousands and thousands of years, the question actually isn't like, prove it to me, because they wouldn't have survived for thousands of years if they didn't work, if they didn't have some major impact on the experience of life. The real questions that we should begin to investigate is, how are they relevant to modern life? Because modern life certainly doesn't look like the origins of life, where essential oils were born as medicinal substances. And so this is a lot of the work that Jen and I do together, is helping us to understand these tried and true, now that's not an English word, tried and true ancient traditions of plant medicine, of interacting with nature, and making them relevant and useful to how life has evolved and the way that we're experiencing and interacting with life now.
Beautifully said. I love it. I just feel like whenever I look at that or I play with some of these oils, I like to pretend I'm like an ancient Egyptian or Roman goddess. I don't know. So what are these essential oils anyway? Basically, as we mentioned before, the essence of the plant is really the oil that lives inside of the bark, the stems, or the leaves, or the peel of the plant. And when we can steam distill or cold press, extract the oil or the essence, it distills down all of these health benefits, all of this magical fairy dust that lives within each plant into an extremely potent form. And what's so beautiful about each plant is that they are very biodiverse, meaning that each plant in and of itself has a unique DNA and has its own special chemical characteristics that integrate and interact with our bodies and with other plants. So basically, we can use them for our own health benefits and also spiritual benefits, because every plant carries a different vibration or a different frequency. So you can imagine how different you would feel in a forest with large, very big grounded spruce trees versus the energy of walking through a lavender field in, Northern Europe, right? The energy would be very different of how you would feel. And so today's journey is about going into each personification of each plant and understanding how each essence can help us.
So when we begin to talk about interacting with essential oils, we have sort of these three major categories of interaction. And we are going to mention it in another slide, but I do want to preface this by saying it is very, very important that your essential oils are 100% pure. And it's why Jennifer and I have decided to pair and partner with this extraordinary company called doTERRA. And actually Christine and Cindy were actually just in Nepal with me, helping me with a service project that doTERRA funded. We said before the call, we're not going to go down too many rabbit holes, but it's just one highlight of why this company is so amazing. But really the main reason they're so amazing is that they are using third-party testing. They're really making sure that what comes into our hands is truly nature, 100% without doubt. And I preface this slide by saying that because over 90% of the oils on the major market right now are synthetic, have fillers, or are not even the oil they claim to be. And so when we're talking about returning ourselves to the vibrational frequencies of nature, if we're interacting with a chemical substance, it's logical that that is not going to carry us in the correct direction that we're hoping it will. And in fact, that's also why we're getting so much confusing information from different reports and studies and articles that people are writing, is because not all essential oils are created equal. And especially when we get into the realm of energetics and we get into the level of our breath and our emotion and really the energy beyond the physical, we want the real deal. And when we have the real deal, the three ways that we use it are topical. So applying to the skin, often we're using a carrier oil to diffuse the potency of the oil. So Jennifer just described to you how potent these little bottles, it's kind of amazing to imagine, like 50 to 70% more potent than the plant part itself in this little magic genie bottle of goodness. So topical use, and a lot of education can be done around doing that in a healthful way. Aromatherapy, which is the one that often we're most familiar with in the diffuser, or we see it a lot in spas, at least the name, right? At least you're familiar with the name. But that could be using a diffuser to just opening your bottle and interacting with the oil through your olfactory nerve. And lastly, internal use. So when we're in the realm of 100% pure essential oils, they are medicinal substances and can be taken internally in the right time, place, and dose, clearly established in a safe way to assist the biochemistry of our body to transform and alchemically become something more pure and in resonance with nature.
I love it. One thing that I would like to expand upon that Molly just touched on is the depth of the heart of this company. And as she mentioned, doTERRA did a match program and was able to supply Molly with some amazing oils and support for the orphanage project that she just did in Nepal. And it's really the only company that I found out there that is doing this kind of scientific research, where you have the leading scientists of essential oils in the world that are literally working with doTERRA in their labs. And, doTERRA is sending their oils to Johns Hopkins University to be tested, and things are being published, so that we actually are bridging the gap between Eastern medicine and Western medicine to have this kind of, this ancient remedies tried and true, that we can actually use them instead of, eventually going to a doctor. Ideally, we will have the choice to take lavender and copaiba versus Xanax, right? And so doTERRA is really paving the way in that. And while they're doing that, they're actually creating a beautiful relationships all over the world with the farmers and the growers, going to where the places in the world where the plants grow with the most pure chemistry. So obviously, if you tried to grow an orange tree, I'm based out of Chicago here. If we tried to grow an orange here, it would be very different than an orange that would grow in Florida, right? So where the plant actually comes from in nature is very important. And so they source the oils from over 46 countries all over the world. And as they do that, they're actually giving back to communities and really supporting the lives of people on both sides of the bottle. And it would be the same ethics and the same heart that if Molly started a company, or if I started a company, or any one of you started a company, then you had that code of ethic. That is what doTERRA is doing. And, I feel like people think it's a huge company, but it's not. I mean, it is big, but also I was just talking to Emily Wright. We were just together in Mexico, and she's like this is one of the owners. She's a little farm girl. She drives around in her Ford pickup truck. Her dog's name is Jack. And she's the nicest lady, and she will give you a huge hug. And she knows most of us that work in the company. And so it's pretty amazing to be a part of such a dynamic and beautiful group of humans.
Awesome. All right. So now hopefully you feel comfortable with the subject matter and the arena within which we're going to dance. So we're going to get down to work. So you know a little bit about essential oils, you're understanding hopefully a little bit about what they are, their history, and perhaps even their relevance in life. But what in the world is happening when we interact with essential oils? So I had already demonstrated for you, right, aromatherapy, when you put it on your skin, whether you're taking it internally or you're just smelling out of the bottle. One unique thing about using essential oils, either as medicinal interventions or again, lifestyle wellness allies, is it's really different from a lot of the modern medicines that are available to us in that because it is nature, you can't interact with an oil without smelling the aroma, the resonance that this little piece of nature, whatever plant contributed to the liquid that's in this bottle. You cannot interact in any of the three major ways without also interacting with the aroma of the oil. And this comes in the form of volatile compounds that are evaporating really quickly. And that's why the interaction is so powerful. But what's happening is this experience is being processed through a collaboration of a lot of little different structures in the brain called the limbic system. And what's special here is that the limbic system is in part responsible for heart rate, for respiration. It has a significant impact on the endocrine system. So this is the biochemistry, the hormonal fluctuations of the body. You can see here also long-term memory, the way that our emotions are expressed and processed. And so just via this limbic system, which is also purportedly one of the most ancient structures in our brain, when we interact with an essential oil, we are immediately impacting these very major life-sustaining systems in our body. And so for today's topic, we're going to trend a little bit into the waters of yoga philosophy. As many of you know, actually, we're both yoga instructors, but the koshas, and you don't have to remember this terminology. There are going to be a few new words here on this slide. And if you're not a yogi or haven't tapped into yoga, don't even worry about the words. Do your best to capture the essence of the idea versus thinking that you need to understand these words, because you definitely don't, unless there comes a time in the future where you want to know the words. But the essence is much more important, especially because we're in the realm of essential oils. And this is such the beauty also of talking about this topic, is we just try to get to the essence of everything. These oils, these little magic things, they really truly are facilitators for getting us toward the essence of life. But in the yogic philosophy, they have this system sort of called the koshas that describes 5 major layers of our perceivable existence as a human being. I'm going to say that one more time because it's kind of a mouthful. The koshas describe 5 layers of our perceivable existence. So 5 layers through which we are experiencing life. We're just going to highlight the first 3 for today's topic, which are the physical level, Annamaya kosha, the energy level, pranamaya kosha, and the thought or mind level, manomaya kosha. And what's so special here is that in the yogic realm, I'm sure everyone on the call, whether yogi or not, has heard about yoga being some sort of unification, right? And Jennifer already also presented this idea of like touching back into the essence of nature is touching back into the unity of all life, the true connections that keep us in this beautiful spider web of existence, and those pathways, almost I would dare to say, of like peace and contentment, right? Those places where we touch into compassion and wellness and happiness and all of these amazing things. So if you refer back in your mind to what the limbic system does in the body, and then you consider that yoga as this like 5,000 probably plus ancient system describes how we're experiencing life, they say, well, we experience life through the physical level. Which is, there's another Molly Cofman trying to sign in. So that's exciting. We're going to have like, oh, thank you. I could barely see it. Thanks. So we have the physical level, which we know is undeniable, right? So we can use the oils topically, we can ingest them, affecting the biochemistry of the body. The physical level is also where we feel our heart beating. It's where we take deep breaths. The energy level, pranamaya kosha, is where we are tapping deeper into the magic of breath. And it's also the layer, the kosha in yogic philosophy, where we experience emotions. And then the thought level, the mind level, manomaya kosha, is the layer within which the mind layer, not only connecting the physical layer and the breath or energy layer, but also the place where we can begin to tap into our intuition and where we are also interacting with things like memories. And so what's so beautiful here, whether you like the more scientific side of things or because we're tapping a little bit more into the energetic side of things, when you just do something as simple as open a bottle of essential oil and take a smell, you are, if you've chosen well which oil bottle you've opened, immediately affecting all three of these levels and beyond. You're immediately having an effect on very important and integrated structures. But here we also see that those structures include the level of emotion, the level of energy, the level of intellect and mind and thoughts and mood. And this is where we're going to carry you a little deeper today.
So beautiful. So let's talk a little bit more about the emotional properties of various types of plants. So I like to think of each plant as like a Marvel superhero. So you know how there's like Catwoman and like Superman, and then there's like the guy who like freezes stuff. I don't even know the names of all these characters, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Each one has his own unique superpower. And that's the way that I like to think of plants, having their own unique superpower. And each type of plant brings different qualities to our emotional healing. So in general, the mints are really good if we're feeling apathetic, if we're feeling insecure, or we're feeling anxious. Mints have a way of bringing presence and focus to our energy. Whereas citruses are really good if we're feeling heavy, if we're feeling lethargic, if we're feeling down. Citruses have a way of like brightening everything up and just bringing that sunshine to your day. Whereas spices, like if you are feeling somber, if you're feeling disinterested, if you're feeling like literally you've lost your spice for life, spices can interject that passion and fire back in. Whereas the herbs and grasses, these can be really good for anger and for if you're feeling resentment, to distill down that tension and help you relax into it. Whereas the trees are really repairing. They're very holding. I like to think of the tree oils as like giving you a big hug, whether you're grieving or if you feel sad or if you feel shame in any way, the trees can give you that big energetic hug. And then the flowers are really beautiful for opening the heart. So in general, feeling that feelings of worry or feeling heartache or feeling broken, the floral oils can help us to repair and feel that wholeness so that our flower of our heart can expand open.
And one thing I'll just add quickly, Jen, sort of outside the realm, but when we do talk about like in traditional Chinese medicine, we look at the foods and different sort of herbal substances exactly in this way, and also just the energetic, like if in doubt, and you're able to connect with a sensation in your body, you know, something that needs opening or something that needs, you know, like blossoming, you can think of the part of the plant that does that action. So a fruit, citrus, has something particular, but just sort of piggybacking on this as well, we want to assist you and support you in growing your intuitive nature around what to use, of course, learning foundationally, but in all forms of natural medicine, we also look at the quality of the plant as per what part of the plant we're actually using. That was so inarticulate. I'm cracking up sort of a little bit at myself. And you kind of get my gist, right? So flowers are kind of like opening, the citrus, as Jen said, are brightening. So it's just also a way to start cultivating your own intuition. Like, think about the energy of what that part of the plant does in its life, and you will be starting to guide yourself toward the energetic and how that can have an impact on you. Sorry.
No, I love that. That's so beautiful. And gosh, I mean, I feel like we could go so deep in this webinar, but we do want to make sure that we are honoring your time. So we're going to glide through some of these things. And lavender, type a 111 in the chat if you love this oil and it is one of your favorites. I recently, as of yesterday, have rediscovered a love for lavender, as I feel like it's like kind of an overused essential oil. Like, I feel it's like it's kind of like the one that everybody uses all the time, but there's so much depth to this beautiful, beautiful plant. So if you have used lavender, I'd love to have you type in the chat what you use it for and what results you've had. I just had some like random rash that I think I don't know what it's from. I think it's from a t-shirt that I bought that like has some weird chemical on it or something, but I had this like rash that just appeared on my ribs. And so I started taking 4 drops of lavender internally, and the rash is going away and all of the itching is going away because of the antihistamine properties of lavender. And of course, as a side benefit, I also feel incredibly zen and maybe a little sleepy. So if I'm like struggling through the webinar, it's because I just took 4 drops of lavender internally and I'm like, just kidding. But I really did take 4 drops of lavender before this. So soothing, harmonizing, and balancing. I'm feeling all of that. Sleepy, feeling soothing for the skin, right? Great for topically putting on your skin, even for sunburns, things like that. It is a wonderful, wonderful oil. Some complementary oils to lavender that have, I would say, that are basically like would be brothers or sisters or cousins to lavender, or great oils to combine with lavender are Roman chamomile, Melissa, Serenity, which is actually a blend that has lavender in it, as well as Calmer. Calmer is like for the kids, and Adaptive. These are all blends that have lavender in it, and they are just wonderful for really creating that sense of calmness. And then emotionally, so lavender is known as the oil of communication, and it really has to do with our throat energy and allowing us to be able to communicate what we're speaking from our heart center. And so the time that you want to use lavender is when you are feeling like no one can see me, I don't feel seen, I don't feel heard, I can't express myself. Those are the times that, or if you're itching, that you want to use lavender. And when you use lavender, you can say the affirmation, I express from the heart without fear. So if we were to recruit lavender to send us a message and tell us, lavender, what is your message to humans and to the world? If you could distill it down to one message, if the lavender were to speak to you, what would lavender say? And lavender's message is, from a place of love, you need to stand up and speak your truth, transcend fear, and flow easily within the universal alignment of your honesty. Wow. Lavender is beautiful and strong and graceful and has a lot to say.
It's so beautiful. And I know we're gonna try not to do this, but this is a piece of lavender that I would love to contribute. In traditional Chinese medicine, we relate the energetic of lavender to the wood element, to the functionality of the liver, which is responsible for the free flow of energy through the body, the free flowing nature also of our interactions with emotional responses to life. And the reason that I mention it is because the way that Jennifer described lavender might be a little bit different than I think people's perception, which is often that lavender is some sort of sedative, that it somehow settles the energy. And I really want you to tap into the wisdom that Jen just shared, also maybe via the vehicle of traditional Chinese medicine and the wood element and its role in circulating and making sure that everything is smooth flowing in the body, very harmonizing. So we are feeling that sense of calm because things are moving in the right way, not because we're stopping any kind of process.
I love it. So beautiful. Yeah. Sometimes people who are really empathic, lavender can actually be stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting because of the wood element. I
Yeah.
love to learn that.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving on to lemon. So obviously we're going to present you with some real-time examples of the oils and their energetics, because we could talk philosophy until the cows come home, for many days and many hours. And we want you to have tangible things in your hands that you can, like when you sign off this call, you can already feel armed with new knowledge and new ways to interact with your oils. So lemon is an all-time crowd favorite. And the way that I love to introduce lemon is imagine if you've been, or maybe you can just imagine being in the south of Italy, maybe on the Amalfi Coast, if you've seen pictures of the gorgeous green emerald hills, mountains, and all of the vast lemon groves there that are contributing, of course, to all of the limoncello making and all of the other goodies. But you're walking through a lemon grove and you take a ripe lemon off the tree, and you happen to have a knife, because all good travelers have their Swiss Army knife at the ready in case you should be walking through a lemon grove, and you just cut into the lemon. Now in your imagination, I want you to just breathe in. So like in a way, we don't even need many more words. Did any of you can type in the chat or even just do, like sparkle fingers, thumbs up. Like, did any of you feel like your energy just brightened? Like your eyes got a little bit wider? Maybe the corners of your mouth turned up naturally just at the beautiful freshness and like cleansing, purifying nature of opening a fresh lemon, right? I see some smiles and some fingers. So this is lemon. This is, this is the energetic of lemon. And this is how we get to know these oils as well. And this is why it was really important for us also to put together this presentation. I just invite you back for a minute to that mossy tree, right? Just like touching the thing and remembering what it's like to interact with nature and how much power nature has to transform any moment energetically, depending on how we're interacting with it. So lemon is clarifying, purifying, it's cleansing. It has all of these sort of opening properties. And in fact, we use citrus peels a lot in traditional Chinese medicinal formulas, herbal formulas, to open the mechanism of digestion, to brighten the body's ability to like take in and assimilate and decide what is good and what is bad. So really brightening, kind of opening qualities of lemon. And of course, when you know the energetic, you can understand what it's doing physiologically in the body. Here, our lemon essential oil also has very strong detoxifying properties for the body. I think we have here that it assists in the production of glutathione in the liver. So really stimulating the healthy functioning of the organs that are already within us, helping us to detoxify and keep up with the different impressions that we're giving our body through food and energy and interactions. So right down to the biology, this is what lemon can do for us. Some of the partnering the citrus oils that we love to talk about, of course, are wild orange, another really crowd favorite. It's really hard to choose which oils to talk about because they're all so good, but we did our best to group them together. Grapefruit, tangerine, lime. So these all are going to share some of these properties of lemon. But if you remember also from the beginning, each has its unique fingerprint, each has its unique way of interacting. And so as we gain more depth in our ability to interact with the oils and even to choose them for any given situation, there are actually many right answers. And I always love to comment on this too, that there are many right answers. Lemon, I'm going to say, is probably one of the most powerful and all-encompassing in this group. And all of the citrus oils are going to share these qualities of lemon. And so the emotional aspects of lemon, if you just think about, again, the energetics of opening a fresh lemon in a lemon grove, they're going to be pretty similar on the energy body, on the mind, on the emotion. So one of the ways that we can think about it, and these lemons here that this hand is grabbing, they're so illuminated. And this is really what lemon oil can do, really shed light on any given situation, just sort of brighten a moment. And what this can look like is, has anyone ever experienced sort of what we call in traditional Chinese medicine, or I guess in everything, like this, like foggy mind, kind of an unclear, like it's not like you're tired. It's not even necessarily like you're having an emotion, but it just sort of feels like your head is in a cloud a little bit. Yeah. Anyone, you can give me a nod or a little shake. Yes, we've all had this. Often, this is actually a result of a congested digestive system, which is kind of interesting from traditional Chinese medicine. But looking at the energetics of lemon, we all of a sudden have this very empowering entity that can not only open our ability to digest more healthfully, but in doing so, brightens the mind, sheds light on the current situation, helps with concentration, helps us to focus, and inspires like natural playfulness, kind of brings joy into every moment. And here I think it's also really important to say that, like, we're not meant to be disco ball and laser light happy all the time. So when we talk about sort of this playfulness and an aspect of joy, it's something that is sustainable. So not necessarily like the high of the high, not necessarily like, sort of googly eyed and, like this kind of crazy bright eye, but really, really just as if the brightness of the energetic of this fruit, it's actually the peel of the fruit from where the essential oil is just illuminating all of the spaces that got a little dark in any given moment. And that feeling, right? When you get your concentration or you're able to focus, it feels good. It brings happiness to the moment. So this is sort of the energetic of lemon. And of course, the trigger statement as I am foggy. And the true statement here can be, or an affirmation that you can use with lemon or other citrus oils: I am present and bright-eyed. And even if you just pretend to be that right now, you sort of feel a different energy pour through the body. And so the lemon essential oil is definitely one that, both through ingestion, diffusion, or even don't apply it to your skin if you're going out in the sun, just as a side note, because it does create photosensitivity, but not if you drink it. So if you drink it, then you are clearing some of the muck that is obstructing light to get to the places it needs to be. And when light gets to the places it needs to be and deserves to be, we are full of playfulness and joy for any given moment.
Beautiful. So peppermint is one of my favorite essential oils. It's definitely one that I use quite often. Not sure about you guys. I'd love to hear how you use it in the chat. Peppermint is very stimulating and invigorating. It's known as the oil of a buoyant heart, and it's very cooling. So physically, I like to use this one quite often in my yoga practice. So before I'm about to practice, I like to put a drop or two on my hands. If you have a peppermint with you, you can actually do this with me. It's one of my favorite things to do, to just allow your mind to be refreshed. But you can take a couple deep breaths after putting just one drop on your hands, because it's very strong. So one drop is equivalent to 28 cups of tea. And as you breathe it in, you can really feel how strong the aroma is, just like a candy cane in the Christmas time or something like that. It's very, very uplifting and very, very refreshing. And it's so opening that you can even make what I like to do is it's called an oil bomb. And we just make a little O with your hands and kind of cup your hands together, and you can just breathe in. And when you do, you can feel the mint cup your mouth and it goes into your throat. And it's just like, wow, it's like a rush. It's like brushing your teeth first thing in the morning, or it's like, I don't know, it's like going outside in the cool breeze or turning the shower all the way to freezing cold. It just has this a way of invigorating you and waking you up. So this one is good for clearing congested energy because it is so opening and so bright in the way that it just sort of shatters whatever fogginess or heaviness that you have. And it's really good for reducing inflammation in the body. So if you have soreness, especially in your joints or pain in your body, which is why it's used in the deep blue rub, it's wonderful to help soothe those irritations. In addition to that, it's also very good for digestion. So if you are experiencing bloating, constipation, or having any digestive issues, peppermint is wonderful. And that is why it's in the Digest Zen blend because it is so good for soothing in the digestive world. So that's just a few ways that you can use peppermint. And it's also really wonderful to pair with eucalyptus, as is the Breathe essential oil, which is just a wonderful compilation of oils. It's good for anytime you feel congested. I actually love to throw it in my shower to create like a spa aroma environment. Like I feel like I'm at a 5-star spa when I throw a couple drops of peppermint, eucalyptus, or Breathe in the shower. It's just like, opens up all the air pathways, kills all the germs, and makes you feel so open. And then on the emotional level, what I love about peppermint is that it's giving you more energy and more fortification in your essence. So if you feel stuck, if you feel heavy, if you feel like you can't quite focus, the oil of peppermint is really good for creating that connection and allowing you to move forward. So the message from peppermint is allow yourself to float up above any thoughts or emotions and see what is needed for you to process them and move forward. So allowing those ripples of our thoughts, right? Peppermint just cuts right through that and helps you to navigate of what is in alignment for you. And sometimes that is effective for work, especially if you are having trouble making up your mind or focusing or ADD, ADHD issues. Peppermint can be really helpful with the idea of possibility and creating clarity for that possibility.
Beautiful. So we have one of the Molly Cofmans with a hand up. So I'm just gonna ask you, we're gonna leave a few minutes at the end to ask questions, but if it's a question that will enhance your ability to continue following, we can take it now. Can we do questions at the end? Give me a sign.
Maybe she raised her hand because she likes peppermint.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So we'll leave a few minutes hopefully at the end. Obviously, you see that Jen and I are very passionate about what we do. So it's hard we have been practicing all week limiting the amount of words that we're using. And I just want to say, it just so happens that lemon, lavender, and peppermint is one of our powerhouse combinations as an antihistamine combo. But with all of the things that you just learned on, Christine's like giving a thumb up. It really, really, really wonderful, powerful combo for allergies, for any kind of flare-up of the immune system. But on the energetic level, as Jen was just alluding to, the trio is sort of getting at all the different layers of energy that contribute to our ability to focus. And so when you do enter into that realm of focus, concentration, ADD, ADHD, all of these letters that we're giving to really are just congested digestive systems that are not allowing us the space to digest life, those three together energetically support a clear mind, a clear heart, and a clear energetic allowing us to continue to navigate and interact with all of the things in life. So beautiful combination on an energetic, spiritual level as well. So here we go with On Guard. This is also a doTERRA blend with wild orange, clove, cinnamon, bark, eucalyptus, and rosemary. On Guard as a blend is very protective, strengthening, fortifying. So we're kind of moving into an arena that is deeper in the body with the first oils. We've sort of been talking in the upper hemisphere in a way, right? Heart, throat, how the free flow of energy is going. Here with On Guard, we're kind of diving down almost like in the direction of the root chakra, something foundationally warming and supportive. And of course, with our On Guard blend, if you think about what is like foundationally supportive of the body, it is the immune system. It is the system in the body that is actually our biological protector. And so the On Guard, as you can imagine, is a powerful, powerful antimicrobial. And by antimicrobial, we are moving into the realm. So it's a little bit one of the tricky arenas with some of the modern medicine interventions for infection, that we have things very like diversified to the point where there isn't something that is actually addressing the whole picture, right? You have your antifungals, you have your antivirals, you have your antibacterials. But when you start to know more intimately how the body functions and what happens when we get infections, something that comes from nature, and most of the oils in On Guard actually have this quality. And by bringing them together, we're actually catalyzing and amplifying each of the oils' ability to be an antimicrobial, which means that they are all three: antibacterial, viral, and fungal. So something very complete. And this to me is a beautiful metaphor of how complete nature is. And so when we take the medicine of nature in its complete form, the magnitude of how it can help us is also equally that complete. In traditional Chinese medicine, it just goes, I know Jim, who is a colleague of mine and also Jen's husband, a colleague of mine in traditional Chinese medicine, we often are giggling because there is no acupuncturist on the doTERRA science team. And yet most of the blends that they make are like traditional Chinese medical formulas. They are so harmonious. They're so well balanced. It really is uncanny and incredible. But here with On Guard, we sort of have a combination of oils that we would designate almost as a yang tonic. So yang being the metabolic, warming, invigorating, kind of fiery energy of the body. And so this is upholding and supporting the immune system by, at a very foundational level, kind of keeping the life gate fire going, supporting that really foundational metabolic and energizing energy of the body. Some similar oils, single oils that carry similar qualities are tea tree, oregano, thyme. So a lot of the pretty common Mediterranean cooking herbs, which is why the Mediterranean diet in some realms is also so interesting and powerful. Tea tree, of course, coming from Australia. So on the emotional side, and I think you're probably starting to get the hang of it, aren't you? That when you think about the biological or the physiological function of an oil, if you just like take one step back into the energy realm. So when you think about a fungus, for example, it's something that really settles into the body. It's something that's hard to get rid of. It's something that is feeding on like the sugars and carbohydrates. Like it's kind of invaded, and it is like not going anywhere very easily. So this is sort of like interacting with someone with a very commandeering personality, no, that might be difficult for us to push away, to eliminate from our energy fields. And so here, just sort of a mental liaison that as you look at something like an antimicrobial, you can begin to translate that into energetic language. So toxic relationships, maybe unhealthy relationships, right? Things that kind of get stuck in your habit pattern that you can't quite get a grip on releasing. So On Guard and oils like On Guard that share some of its biological properties are going to help us to find the power and the strength and the fortification to sort of set our boundaries well, to really distinguish between what we want to interact with and what we don't want to interact with. And when something penetrates our energy fields or our emotional fields, it's also fortifying enough that we can say, actually go ahead and exit, because I don't really need you to be in my experience of life on an emotional level, on an energetic level, across the board. And so I think this started a little bit like the Big Brother oil, I think was Jen's term. And I shifted it a little because I was struggling with that language. So just in case, you can like make these sentences in a way that's really relevant for your own experience. But On Guard for me is like, I've got your back oil. It's like, wouldn't it be so wonderful to just feel a warm embrace supporting you no matter what you were doing in life? This is what On Guard is doing for us, both energetically and biologically. And so it's like, it's filling the areas of weakness. It's fortifying our ability to do what's necessary to keep strong boundaries. And it's giving us an innate sense of security and peace in that security. We don't have to be armed warriors all the time. We can be really at peace and strong simultaneously.
So beautiful. And frankincense, I do feel like this one has our back too, but it's in a different way. It's like this one, I feel like holds us in our true essence, in all of us, not just our physical form. Frankincense is incredibly restoring, repairing, divine, and holy. So you've probably heard of this oil being given to baby Jesus on his arrival here on the planet. And it's no coincidence that they picked this resin or this oil to gift to him because of its incredible properties. So this is actually one of the most researched and most studied essential oils. So if you ever have a moment, I encourage you to head on to pubmed.gov, G-O-V, and look up frankincense and some of the studies that are being done on it, because it is really exciting to see what they are coming out with in terms of the healing properties of this essential oil. So it basically, what they're finding is that it can help repair cells to restore them back to their original healthy DNA if they are unhealthy. So if you think about degenerative diseases where cells that are unhealthy are replicating, this is like very common in especially cancer, right? This is what's happening. And so what they're finding is that frankincense can actually help support those cells to replicate healthy. And so, of course, it can't cure or prevent any of these diseases, but what it can do is help our bodies to restore back to its homeostasis point or its healthy point. And of course, it supports the endocrine system, as Molly mentioned, which is our hormonal chemistry balance, our stress response, and sleep response. So, oh, and we didn't even put anti-aging here. This is my favorite oil for anti-aging on my skin with wrinkles and dark spots, because it can help those cells to be young again. So frankincense, we have this funny saying in the world of essential oils, but when in doubt, frank it out, we say, because the truth is, if you have something going on, whether it's spiritual, whether it's emotional, whether it's physically, you just hurt somewhere, frankincense 9 times out of 10 can be that oil for you. I like to take frankincense essential oil. Like if I feeling like I want to take in a leave or an Advil or something, or if I'm just feeling off, I just take a drop of frankincense and see how I feel. It is wonderful also to combine with frankincense. Frankincense combined with copaiba and turmeric is a wonderful combination. And also these are other two very anti-inflammatory oils that often go together, especially if you are experiencing some sort of inflammation. And we know that inflammation is really the root of all problems in our body in many ways when you distill it down. So taking frankincense on the daily can be really helpful for not only the physical part of your body, but also the emotional part, which we will talk about now. So frankincense, if you think about frankincense, so when they cut the frankincense tree, it actually, the tree repairs itself by having the resin that comes out of the tree. And it's basically like the tree's healing serum or a tree's Band-Aid. And so when we take that and we extract it from the tree and we use it for our own health benefits, we're literally taking that tree energy. I like Molly's analogy of like getting a big hug, right, from the on guard, and the on guard is like protective and has more of like that armor, whereas the tree is like being held by like that fatherly, divine father energy. It's very in alignment with light, with truth, with powerful divine masculine protection, but it's very soft and it's very loving in that way and very repairing. So you can think of frankincense as if we look at our energetic field, if you have rips within your energetic field, tears, if you can imagine like a blanket, right? And we all have our unique things that we've been through in our lives that create these tears and these holes within us. And the frankincense, what it does energetically is it just repairs those fibers and allows you to come back into that wholeness, whether you've been through challenge or trauma or heartbreak or mistrust or shame or guilt, whatever it is. That frankincense, it has the ability to help us come back into that state of we are whole, we are one, and that everything is okay and that we are safe. And so the message from frankincense or from our divine father is, dear child, you are safe and you are loved as you continue on your journey of self-expression. So beautiful.
So beautiful. And actually, as I'm looking at this picture of the tree, Jen, and I know we need to move toward wrapping up because we're we've done pretty well with our time. But as I'm looking at this tree, if you think back to the On Guard formulation, cinnamon bark is one of the major elements. And so maybe one of the ways also just in your mind and energetically to differentiate between the different forms of protection. One of the ways that I love to see frankincense as a resin is almost like the lymph and blood. So the like inner fluidity, nourishment, healing property from within, whereas On Guard is like the bark of it literally is bark, has bark in it, and is sort of like the bark of the tree that is upholding and stabilizing, as energetically you would also relate to this beautiful boswellia tree from where the frankincense comes. So some of you may have seen this image. Can you type a 111 in the chat if you have ever felt like this at any time in your life, ever? That's a lot of ones. All right. Now, how many of you would like to be this woman? You can type 333 in the chat because 3 is also a sacred number. So this is life without essential oils. This is life with a relationship to the wisdom of nature. And essential oils are an incredible ally in guiding us home to our true nature on all levels of our experience in life, from the physical, which is really important, but the physical, of course, dictating the health of our emotional, our breath, our biochemistry, and every layer of energetics that you might be able to perceive in this lifetime.
Beautiful. Well, I think we are all worthy of feeling colorful and vibrant and floating. I know just looking at that image and talking about these wonderful essences helps me to feel that way with all of you. So there's basically 3 different ways that we can really live empowered with these amazing magical bottles. And how you can do that is to choose your own path of adventure. The first way is to simply live the lifestyle, to become a doTERRA customer and every morning crack open your peppermint, put it on yourself as you start your day, breathe it in and feel the invigorating energy. Before you go to bed, fire up your diffuser like some of you have put in the chat. You can imagine yourself turning off the lights and having a bedtime ritual that is in alignment with that last slide, a ritual of a goddess or a god, and really creating a routine for yourself that's going to support you as you move through life's challenges, to uplift you and hold you, repair you with your own internal wisdom, guiding you through and into the plants. The second pathway is if you are so passionate about this, as many of us are on this call, that you can't keep this to yourself. If you love it so much that you happen to be telling your daughter and your sister and your cousin and your brother and your neighbor and the people that you care about, because you know that when you are living this yogic path, and we know that we are all connected and universal consciousness is real, and the way that I feel affects the way that you feel, and together we can start to change and shift. If you feel called to share this with your family and your community, there's a beautiful way that you can reward yourself by getting some free essential oils, getting your oils paid for, or simply earning an extra income, which is wonderful during this time of economic uncertainty. And then the third pathway is for the folks like Molly and myself. And I see my mom is on here, who's also listed as Molly. Hi, Mom. Who are really passionate about educating, right? So if you're really interested in if you'd be interested in doing presentations and webinars like this and learning how to create a business from this and really either integrating it into your own wellness business, or if you've always wanted a wellness business, please let us know so that we can support you in that journey. As this is a grassroots revolution, we are very passionate about changing the planet, and we cannot do that alone. So let us know whether you're type person 1, 2, or 3, and how we can support you in your journey. And if you are new to essential oils and you would like to get the oils that we have referenced in this webinar, doTERRA makes it very easy for us to get started. The first way is that you can pick and choose your oils of your choice. Any oils over 150 points worth of products basically gives you a free opportunity to purchase your oils at 25% off for an entire year. So many of you already have oils on this call, so we'll be brief with this, but there are basically 2 options for anyone who is brand new to essential oils. The Healthy Start Kit, which is the smaller size bottles, which comes through with 10 of the basic oils, all of the ones that we talked about today, and a diffuser. These have about 75 drops in them. And then the Home Essentials Kit, which is the bigger size bottles. This comes with 250 drops with a larger glass diffuser, which is going to last a little bit longer with the same essential oil. So really, it's a difference of the size. So you can just let us know whether you'd like the small bottles or the big bottles. The price for the small bottles is $150 and the Home Essentials is $249. So we're happy to enjoy. Actually, I think the now that I'm saying that, the Healthy Start Kit is $160, excuse me. And then any kit gives you the opportunity to purchase any essential oils from doTERRA for 25% off for a year. And we are so happy to be a part of that journey with you. Of course, all of our community has access to both Molly and myself. So just reach out to us, because we love to, if you already have essential oils and you'd like to go deeper into really understanding how they can work for you and what other essential oils might be good for you, please reach out for a consultation with us, because every member of our community that is one of the welcome gifts that we provide, as well as getting access to our amazing oily community, where we have a lot of webinars and beautiful programs like the Cleanse and Restore. I recognize some of you guys from that. And we do so many wonderful things together, just as a perk from simply purchasing oils from Molly, myself, or anyone else on our team.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. You did a really beautiful and eloquent job of saying a lot of stuff very quickly. I'm always so impressed at your ability to do that. And I would also just love to offer my thanks to all of you who joined us live. So wonderful to see your faces out there, to feel also our communities connecting. Those of you who know me pretty well, I feel like one of my sort of eternal purposes in this life is connecting people, is like weaving together the network of humanity. And so it's always a pleasure to be side by side with another extraordinary human being, which Jennifer is, and sort of seeing also our communities come together in this endeavor of learning and making the world a better place and aspiring to live lives of service. So I hope that the information in this webinar was interesting, perhaps piqued your interest a little bit more, maybe sparked a bit of curiosity. I don't know about you, Jen, but I'm definitely feeling like a part 2 and 3 to this webinar already. I'm feeling like we scratched the surface of a really interesting topic. And as Jen also alluded to, we are here for you. Both of us have lives dedicated to helping people understand what is available to you, what is available to you to make your life better, and not all the chatter that's on Instagram and Facebook with everyone telling you what you should do and what you should buy and what you should this. We're really interested in getting to know you and being a facilitator for your journey, which is why we love to connect in person with you. So please reach out to us and let us know how we can support you. And thank you so much for being here today.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. And definitely reach out, because there's some sort of like a learning curve where we have to unlearn things in order to employ these oils. So don't hesitate to reach out and to join the oily chats and to ask questions, because, for example, previously, if I would have this rash that has appeared on my belly, I wouldn't know. I would just go straight to the CVS and put Benadryl on it, or like get one of those over-the-counter antihistamines. And so what we're doing in this community is relearning and reconnecting to going back to, oh, what can I be doing? And so I have been taking this lemon, lavender, peppermint. And as a side benefit, I have been feeling all of these emotional benefits, and we want that for you too. So please, there's no weird thing that is that, you know, like whether it's a headache or whether it's something more serious, right? You know, the oils are here to support you, and we are here to help you to learn how to employ them for your health benefits. So, but we can only do that if you reach out. Just to reiterate Molly's point, because if you're at home just wondering and like, you don't know, and then, you know, you end up going to CVS to get the Benadryl, right? We've missed an opportunity for you to connect with nature and to feel that support and that healing energy of the plants. So please remember us.
I know we have to go. I have my whole family actually downstairs waiting for me for dinner. It's such a treat to have been in the US for a few months and be really close to my family, but I don't want to miss the opportunity if someone has a question that will be helpful to have answered before we finalize this gathering, just so you feel you can move forward with clarity. Anything out there that I know, Gigi, I know you've got a lot of questions, and I also know that you're going to write me a long email tonight, and I can't wait. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Hi, Mama Marilyn. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thank you, Jen, for being an incredible, incredible partner.
Thank you, Molly. I could listen to you for hours. And I love the way you speak about Chinese medicine. I love my husband, but he does not teach me the way that you do. So I love it so much. We can't wait for the next Spirit of the Oils and learning more about Chinese medicine. I think it's super fun.
Awesome.
So beautiful. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Molly.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye to all the other Mollys.
Yeah.